Well, I'm so excited to have my good friend on tonight. Welcome to the network. I'm Julian Johnson, your host. I'm so excited to have my good friend Gamal Alexander on tonight. Look forward to having each of you on. Please, we're going to talk about telling your story, overcoming your grief, and ways to overcome tonight. Talking to Gamal Alexander. Welcome again to the network. Tonight, as we do on Wednesday night, I'm Dr. Julian Johnson, your host, and welcome to the network. And every week, our goal is threefold: to find community, to gain connections, and experience compassion. Tonight, we will have a special guest, and this week's special guest is none other than my good friend, Gamal T. Alexander from This Is Easy. Welcome, Gamal.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate this. This is awesome.
Man, I'm so excited to have you. And man, I want you to know that I've always appreciated the fact that you're a very well read person. You always know a lot of good things. And could you talk a little bit about, man, just about your voracious appetite for knowledge and reading?
Oh boy, ever since I was a kid, I always thought rather that if you wanted to discover something, the best way to do that was to go find a book. I don't know if you were a fan, but I was definitely a fan of Reading Rainbow. I
Oh,
remember the
yes.
theme song, Butterfly in the Sky.
Oh,
I can
yes.
go twice as high. And as soon as the theme song started playing, man, everything that I was doing had to stop because I had to go watch Reading Rainbow. And from then until now, I always remembered,
Yeah.
if you want to know something, it's in
Yeah.
a book. Take a look.
Yeah.
And it not only encouraged me to be a reader, but I also grew to appreciate the other side of it, which was writing and speaking,
Yeah.
because someone had to put the information into those books.
Yeah.
Uh, I enjoyed reading stories, and it occurred to me that. As much as I enjoyed reading them, I ought to learn how to write some because other people would enjoy, maybe they would enjoy reading mine. And so uh, as time progressed, I began writing, and I've done some writing, but now my attention is turned to not just doing my own writing and not just reading, although I still do both, but helping other people tell their stories, helping other people put their stories on paper for others to read. So that's where I am now.
Man, Gamal, man, what a journey you've been on to be
Yeah.
able to go from your own excitement about reading. And I'm telling you, man, every time I heard LeVar Burton come on that show, come on,
Listen,
I
that
was
was the
there.
show, man.
I was
Reading
there.
Rainbow.
And we were just talking to our kids about reading Rainbow the other day. They were like, "What?
Mhm.
Reading Rainbow?" But
Oh, they're missing out. They're missing out. Kids nowadays don't really have good TV. I feel sorry for them because we had the best television.
we did.
It entertaining, informative, life changing stuff, and it shaped me. It shaped me, and I'm grateful for it.
Man, Gamal, as we're talking about this idea of reading and learning, what are some good books that you've read lately? And I know that we're going to go on the journey of what you do, the practical side of it, but just on a maybe on a theoretical side, what kind of books get your mind active, ready to write?
So I've been intentional recently about diversifying my reading portfolio,
Yeah.
because I get stuck on one thing
Hmm.
pretty easily. Put inspirational, motivational book in front of me, and
Yeah.
I'll eat it up.
Yeah.
So everything is figure outable by Marie Forleo. I just finished reading that and I loved it. Atomic Habits by Jim Clear. I love that one. Tools of the Titans by Tim Ferriss. I'm in that one right now, and I love it. But I'm also looking for fiction
Yeah.
because I realize that I don't read enough fiction.
Yeah.
And it's actually been proven that fiction helps with problem solving as well as with communication.
I didn't know
Uh,
that. How so?
and it allows you to, in a safe environment, be able to work through problems, much like an airline pilot would work through flying in a simulator.
Wow.
It's actually been scientifically proven that re- reading fiction actually helps with problem solving ability. And
Wow.
I didn't know it. And so I'm intentionally incorporating more fiction into my diet. And so I'm venturing out and taking recommendations. If you've got any good ones, send them my way. I'm discovering that I'm a John Grisham fan.
Yeah.
I like his stuff, but I want more. I want to expand. Definitely, of course, anything inspirational. Um, Early Max Lucado is still my favorite.
Yeah.
He still moves stones.
Those are some great
No
books.
wonder they call him the savior.
Yeah.
6 hours one Friday.
Yeah.
Early Max Lucado is still one of the best writers I've ever read, and he's a pastor, by the way.
Yeah.
But his passion is calling definitely the written word. I love his stuff, but I am looking for more fiction.
Well, I'll tell you, man. I've heard too. I got some feedback while I was speaking one time. They said, "Man, how much do you read?" When I was with Charlie Joe, he said, "Man, how much are you reading?" And then he asked me, "What am I reading?" And so I told him. He said, "Man, you might want to expand what you read." And I've learned, man, that over time, not only have I been able to solve problems like you're saying, but you always have something to say. There's always something to share.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Dr. Doggett, when I was an undergrad at Oakwood, used to talk about filling his word bank.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I took away from that was that even if you are not a professional public speaker, you ought to be able to express yourself without struggling.
Yeah.
And so, in conversation, you ought to be able to express yourself without searching for a topic or without searching for words. Uh, on the job, you ought to be able to communicate without necessarily getting stuck. And reading allows you to do those things. It allows your communication to be more well rounded, your communication to be more fluid. We all have these stories within us. The trouble is getting the story out.
Ah,
And you use words as the tools to be able to get the story out. But
yeah.
if you don't have enough tools in that toolkit to be able to get the story out, then the story simply stays inside and shrivels up. And we don't want that. And so um, it's a anybody can amass the tools necessary to get the story out.
Yeah.
They're available at every library. They're available on the internet. They're available on Kindle. Um, readers, readers are thinkers who can express themselves
Ooh, I like that.
effortlessly, and every successful person ought to strive to be just that.
Man, I think that what I'm trying to type what you said, it would express themselves.
Readers are thinkers who can express themselves effortlessly, and every person ought to strive to be that. I believe that. I believe that. I read a quote once that said, "If you can write clearly, if you can write effectively, you can think clearly."
Wow.
If you can write effectively, you can think clearly. I coach speakers, And matter of fact, I had two teen entrepreneurs just the other day that were preparing for a business conference. And they were going to speak there, and I got a chance to coach them leading up to their presentation. And a lot of what they said, even though they didn't use the notes, we wrote down,
Yeah.
because if you can write effectively, you can think clearly.
Yeah.
And if you want to speak effectively, you have to be able to think clearly. And so they're all connected. Tim Ferriss once said on a podcast, whatever industry you're in, if you can add speaking or writing to that industry,
Yeah.
then you'll take your success to another level. You can see, man, I'm passionate about getting the story out.
Well, let me ask you, Gamal, man. It sounds like you've had a story that's been held in, and tonight we're talking to
Yes.
Gamal Alexander, and he's from This Is Easy. He's a minister, he's a
Yes.
speaker, he's a coach, he's a trainer. Gamal does it. He's a jack of all trades, and he knows how to be effective in communicating with people. He's had a recent webcast and web series with Dr.
Hmm.
Keith Morris about how to preach effectively. But tonight he's talking about how to overcome through writing. And I want you to know
Hmm.
tonight that one of the things that I find very unique about the fact of being effective, a lot of people, Gamal, talk about being a great speaker and they are eloquent, but man, we don't have a lot of books from a lot of prolific speakers. But could you tell me what the issue? Well, you're going to say something. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to agree with you, especially people who look like us. And by the way, writing is for everybody, but our community as Black people thrives on an oral tradition.
Yeah.
So we will say it,
Yeah.
and that historically goes back all the way to the griots in Africa and beyond.
Yeah.
We will historically say it, but we are more hesitant to write it.
Yeah.
And you have only to look no further than your average library or bookstore to know that unfortunately still remains the case. But it needs to change,
Yeah.
because our people have stories to tell. And in writing, you can accomplish more than just sharing. And I did that personally.
Man, so how did you do that personally? Where you accomplished more than just sharing? I know
Mhm.
you pressed out two books, Grace
Mhm.
and Faith,
Yes.
your daughter's names. But
Yes.
can you talk about, man, what it's like to hold this story in? Because I think for people who are watching tonight, there are a lot of you who have stories inside. You've gone through trauma, you've overcome the
Hmm.
trauma, you've gone through some victories and some triumphs. And really, like Gamal said, a lot of people keep these stories to themselves, even to the point, Gamal, in my industry of healthcare, there are a
Hmm.
lot of people who do not find out about detrimental healthcare disparities or negative healthcare challenges until someone's very sick or ill or
Sure.
even at the point of death. And could you talk about what power writing a story, what does it do when we actually release the story? Does it release grief or do we have
Mhm.
emotion? What happens when we write the story?
So I lost my mother 2 years ago, and all of this writing came as an eventual result of that loss.
Wow.
I realized that uh, my attention was turning toward legacy.
Mm,
What would I leave for my children? What would I leave for my community? What would I
mhm,
leave for those I cared about and those I loved that would
mhm,
outlive
mhm,
me?
mhm, mhm.
And even though I wasn't writing about my life or about my mother, I realized that I could leave a legacy about my life to honor my mother,
Mm,
and to help those who would outlive me. And so in order to honor her, I began to tell stories, and one day hopefully I will tell mine and maybe even hers. But I knew I needed to put something down,
mhm.
uh, be, and I needed to, in my own way, honor the memory
Yeah.
of the one who had put so much in me
Wow.
that allowed me to put something down. And so that's what I did. And I would encourage anyone who has dealt with loss, trauma, what is the memorial that you want to leave in honor of the one you love?
Mm.
Um, Many of us have left a gravestone, but you can do more. Maybe you're not able to build a building in their honor. Maybe you're not able to start a scholarship fund in their honor, but
Hmm.
you can put pen to paper and
Hmm.
you can tell a story that will encourage someone or warn someone or inspire someone or educate someone. You can do that in their honor. I've worked with those who have lost spouses. I have a book writing boot camp right now where we dedicate 60 days of time toward the completion of your first draft. And there are 2 people in my boot camp right now who have experienced the pain of divorce, the trauma of losing a loved one.
Yeah.
And they are writing as a memorial, a celebration of surviving that trauma.
Mm.
That is their celebration, writing it down, and what they have survived will serve to inspire someone else. Met a young lady who will be in my next group. She lost her son, and she will write the story of how a mother who has experienced one of the most tremendous losses of her life
Mm-mm-mm.
overcame that grief, and
Mm.
how you too can overcome that grief.
Mm-mm-mm.
And so uh, every story doesn't have to center around trauma or be traumatic,
Yeah.
but writing can be therapeutic.
Yes.
Uh, any good therapist will tell you, even writing a journal can be therapeutic. A gratitude journal. I just read in this latest issue of Psychology Today. A gratitude journal can even help your sex life.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are married out there, grab a pen and paper if you even want to have better sex.
Yeah.
Because writing can do wonders. Expression can do wonders. We are hardwired for stories. Stories are a critical part of our life.
Man, Marvin Clark asked, I think everything you said is so true, man. And I love the fact that you're just a wellspring of information about writing, about the passion of expression, but
Appreciate
also
that.
more than that, about the desire to be able to let other people be heard as
Yeah.
well. I think right now, man, is everybody's trying to find their lane, everybody's trying to find their thing. And Marvin Clark asked a great question tonight, man. I think this is awesome. Marvin
Author
asked,
himself.
what did you say?
He's an author himself.
He is.
He's just written a book.
He is. And Marvin, who preached a very great sermon the other night. I don't know if you saw it on the quarantine revival. You got to watch it.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I am.
All right, Marvin asked, "How do you become comfortable with what you write?" Because that's a really good question. Because I think some people, and I haven't written down my whole story yet.
Sure.
But how do you become comfortable with what you write?
You never become comfortable with what you write. And what I implore every writer to do is to become comfortable with your uncomfortability. You have to become comfortable with your uncomfortability. What do I mean? When I submitted my first manuscript for editing and I got it back, I was offended. Because it came back with so many corrections and so many red marks that it looked like I hadn't gone to school. It was just atrocious. And I was personally offended because how dare this person tear my work to shreds. And over time, I realized that writing is a dynamic process, and communication is a dynamic process, and improvement is natural and ought to be welcomed. In the last 30 seconds, we just demonstrated it. I said, be comfortable in your uncomfortability. right? Because I tend to lean toward wordiness.
Yeah.
You wrote be comfortable in your discomfort, which is a better expression of the phrase. That's editing. Now, now you've got to become comfortable with the fact that there's a better way to say it. And you're always gonna find a better way to say it. You'll never do it perfectly. You just gotta do it. And you got to be bad first when you do it. You got to
Yeah.
put it out there as raw and as unfiltered and as
Yeah.
unedited as
Yeah.
possible, and then continue to develop it. Even when the book is finished, it can still be improved. That's why you have second editions and third editions and fourth editions, because you can go back to the same book and you can improve it. You can always get comfortable for the rest of your life with the discomfort of being exposed,
Yes.
with the discomfort of being imperfect,
Yes.
with the discomfort of just developing, because if you're not growing, you're dead.
Yo, Gamal, man, you said something right there: exposure and
Yeah.
development and imperfection.
Transparency.
And I think that a lot of people, man, we really like, in your words, we really like the cotton candy. We really like to see the finished product.
Oh,
We don't
man.
care about the work. And I read this thing recently that said that the things that we think are overnight successes actually took 20 years in the making. And so think about, man, all the things that you have done. I mean, Gamal, I've known you for a long time. I've known you for about 20 years. And the thing is, it's just now that you're starting to release everything that's been inside of you all these years. You've been loving reading, you've been loving all these things, but now it's just coming out. It's amazing.
It's just coming out. Let me tell you, this parallels the healing journey, because just like healing takes time. Allison, I'm here for cotton candy. Listen, we all are. We all are. We all love the healed, the finished product.
Yeah.
But the healing process, the process where you're laid bare, where you're exposed, the writing process, the creative process is messy.
Yeah.
The transformative process is messy. And we don't like to display messy on the shelf for consumption.
No.
We don't like that.
We don't want the can that's cracked. We don't want the bottle that has damage on it.
Take the imperfect box back. We don't sell that. Right? Even if the contents are still good, no, it's an imperfect box, it's an imperfect package, so put that away. That's not life. If you can be comfortable showing people the process, exposing people to the process, the more of the process you show people, the more you're able to connect with people, and the more helpful you'll be.
Listen, let me tell you, Brene Brown has made a life purse on being able to just talk about being uncomfortable.
So, man, listen, she is a master at pulling the curtain back.
That's so true.
And allowing you to see how the sausage is made. And man, that sausage of self-actualization is messy, but she's brave enough to show it, which is why she's Brene Brown, and which is why she is so impactful and so helpful. And I dare say there are lots of sausages out there being made. There are people that are going through, people that are overcoming, people that are discovering, people that are learning every single day, but we hide it. And because we hide it, we don't help anybody.
Man,
that's the problem.
And I think, man, you just hit on something really big there. I think that the shame culture, the cancel culture, man, I've been in conversation with this guy. He's really different. He's white and tall, and I'm short and I'm not tall and black. But man, we were talking about the fact that cancel culture is so easy right now because of a shame factor, that we don't like to hear the other opinion, the other side, and we only want to see it when it's the finished product. And I was going to ask you, Gamal, man, how do you go from living your life as a person in a shell, uh,
Mhm.
as opposed to living your life without shame? I remember I was there when your mother died. I was at
Yeah,
the house
yeah, yeah.
when your mother died,
Yes,
and
yes,
that
yes,
was quite
yes,
an
yes.
experience for me.
Mhm.
I didn't know. I had just got off the plane in Cali, and your
Yeah,
mom died.
yep,
But
and
man,
mommy
you did
died.
not hide anything,
That's it.
and we walked together through it to a degree
Mhm,
as much as I could.
mhm,
But man,
mhm.
how did you go from being kind of not a cocoon, but kind of in a way where you're kind of put up a wall to say, hey, this is it is what it is.
So I'll take you one step further because
Okay,
before that loss was the loss of my marriage.
sure.
10 years ago, it was 9 years ago. Uh, 9 years ago on Monday, August the 30th, was my divorce.
Hmm.
And so, being divorced as a full time pastor was a roller coaster ride
Yeah,
because, as a church pastor, image is crucial,
very crucial.
perception is reality.
Yep.
Uh, and it is crucial not just for the pastor's sake, but for the members' sake as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Uh, and so um, everybody plays the role.
Yeah.
And we are taught that if you do not present an image that gives your membership something to believe in,
Yeah.
then you actually harm their faith.
Yeah.
And so the pastor presents an ideal family.
Yeah.
The pastor presents his or herself as an overcomer. However, I modeled the loss of that going through a divorce in the public eye. I never took a day off from pastoring. And I learned that there are more imperfect people out there than perfect people.
Yeah.
The perfect people outnumber the imperfect people, rather outnumber the perfect people by 100%.
Yeah.
I
And
I learned that, and I in learning that, I learned that uh, but joining the ranks of the imperfect put me in the majority.
ooh, I like that. I like that.
Joining the ranks of the imperfect put me in the majority. And so now I don't necessarily I've been pushing past the boundaries of pastor, past even the boundaries of being a black Adventist,
Yeah.
into the realm of joining the imperfect people.
Yeah.
Uh, I want to become a part of that group,
Yeah.
right? Because they're in the majority,
Yeah.
right?
So true.
So you got imperfect Baptists, imperfect witnesses, imperfect Catholics, imperfect gays, uh, imperfect women. Listen, I want to be with you,
Yeah.
wherever the imperfect people are. I want to get with them because they're in the majority. And I feel that I've found my calling in identifying with them and ministering to them and inspiring them and empowering them and helping them. Man, discovering that I was an imperfect person changed my life. Because it helped me to go find some other imperfect people and help them change their lives.
No, but I think that Gamal, man, as we dive more into this idea, the reality is that there's a lot of people like Jaquanda. Jaquanda, shout
Mhm,
out to
mhm,
Jaquanda.
mhm.
We see you on here from Riviera Beach. Shout out Jaquanda. There's a lot of people, man, who are waiting for the real. They're not waiting for the
Yes.
fake. They're
Yeah.
not waiting for the people who are the people who are have it all together. And I'm learning, man, even now that people want the authentic. They want the
Yeah.
transparent. They want
Want
the
the transparency.
vulnerability, and they're
Mhm.
not going to judge you if you say you did something as egregious as sin, because at the end of the day, everybody's a sinner.
Everybody,
And I think the
everybody.
other side of it too, Gamal, that people really don't understand the value of being and claiming their own humanity. That's the thing that I
That's
learned
it.
in clinical work. And claiming my own humanity, that really makes a true difference.
Absolutely, the humans are in the majority, man. We out here. You know, the people who put their pants on one leg at a time, who have their up days and their down days, who make mistakes. We are out here in full force, and my passion is bringing us out of hiding. Man, I want all the humans to come out of hiding, and I want them to get on stage and talk about their humanity. I want them to get their laptops out and type their humanity. I want them to start businesses and help other people with the very human problems that they're faced. Help people solve them. Man, I want to I want to support and reinforce your humanity.
Well, Gamal, man, I want to support and reinforce your humanity, and we're going to be back. We're going to be back right after these messages
Sure.
with just a little bit more. We're going to talk about the business side. We're going to talk
Mhm.
about more about the easy, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about how do we make the practical steps of
Sure.
going from isolation to integration to imperfection. I think that
Let's do
sounds
it.
pretty good. We'll be
Let's do
right
it.
back after these very brief messages.
Our fight against coronavirus isn't over. We still have to slow the spread and do our part. Let's wear face masks in public. Stay 6 feet or more from others. Follow state and local guidelines. Wash our hands frequently and stay home when we feel safe. For ourselves, for our loved ones, for our future. Let's move forward together. Learn more at coronavirus.gov.
Shout out to the hip hop public health. All the healthcare workers on the front line. Together, we can make a difference.
What's good, y'all? This is Doug E. Fresh coming at you live and direct. All of y'all out there, I got a couple of things I want to talk to y'all about. Wash your hands, everybody. And everybody, wash your hands.
20 seconds.
Come on, wash your hands, everybody. And everybody, wash your hands. My people uptown, wash your hands. My people downtown, wash your hands. People from the East Coast, wash your hands. People from the West Coast, wash your hands. That's right.
First and foremost, please listen close. Take your time, wash. Use a lot of soap from the front to the back, back to the front. Sing the hook where you at. That's exactly what we want. If you decide to leave, please take heed. Talk a social distance, at least 6 feet. On a bus or the train, riding in your car. The further you're away, then the better off you are. 20 seconds or more. You gotta be able to wash your hands like you never ever washed them before. 20 seconds or more. Don't try to wait, you'll make the greatest mistake. You need to wash them when you enter the door. 20 seconds or more. Take your time, sing a song, spit a rhyme. When you finish, you can put on some gloves. 20 seconds or more. It's very important to wash your hands. You're protecting everybody you love.
Wash your hands, everybody. And everybody, wash your hands.
20 seconds
Come
or more.
on, wash your hands, everybody. And everybody, wash your hands.
Big things that happen to us. And welcome back, Gamal. Thank you so much again for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Man, we were talking just now about being imperfect, about how to embrace the story. But man, what steps did you really take? I know you talked about the death of your mom,
Sure.
talked about your divorce, and I thank you so much for sharing these meaningful moments and memories that you have experienced throughout your life. But what other practical steps would you say have been useful steps to take in this move toward embracing imperfection?
Uh, so I've learned uh, I learned something from a swim class that helped me in life. I Up until a few years ago really didn't know how to swim, and so I went down to a school in Corona that actually teaches kids, and they had an adult class, and so I figured, well, I'll have them teach me. And
Mhm.
so uh, signed up for lessons and decided I would learn. And if you've ever been in a pool
Yeah,
before, you know that for whatever reason, it's almost universal. The water's cold.
yeah,
It's at least colder than you'd like it to be.
yeah,
And
yeah,
what I learned is that you don't have all day because they're 30-minute classes. If you just jump in,
yeah,
uh you'll get past the initial shock, and every single time it takes you about 5 seconds. You jump in, you get past the initial shock, then you can get on with your life. And you'll almost always realize, man, it's not as bad as you're making it out to be.
yeah,
That was a crucial, pivotal life lesson for me, especially when it came to writing, because we can talk ourselves out of even beginning.
mm,
We're experts at it.
mm.
Man, we tell ourselves these stories. The book I'm writing now, The Story of Sam, is about the stories we tell ourselves. And we are experts at talking ourselves out of ever getting started.
Mm.
If you are going to embark on any venture, I don't care if it's writing, I don't care if it's business, you got to learn how to jump.
Yeah,
You've got to learn how to jump. You got to learn how to take the leap,
yeah,
uh, absorb the initial shock, and know that it's gonna be bad at first, but it's gonna be okay.
yep,
That's really the only practical advice I have, because you only learn by doing.
yeah,
You only learn how to write by writing. Right? You only learn. Editing is not writing. Research is not writing. You, um, Reading is not writing. Writing is writing. You only learn to speak by speaking. Reading is not speaking. Research is not speaking. Practicing is not speaking. Speaking is speaking.
yeah,
You learn by doing.
yeah,
If you hadn't done it, I don't care how much you read about it or looked into it, you don't know it
yeah, yeah, yeah.
until you do it. You cannot be afraid to do it, fail at it, pick yourself up, and do it again.
No, I think you're right, man. I think that
Gotta
too
do
many
it.
people they're the biggest challenge is people's brains, and they're people watching everybody else. And I think, man, watching people try to be successful. I'm gonna tell you, I did not start out when I first started out with this network thing, man. It didn't look like this. And by God's grace, it'll continue to get better and improve. But man, I'm learning that also on the path toward imperfection, I'm learning also to celebrate every little moment.
Absolutely.
And I think that, man, taking out the time to celebrate little things, it lead up to the big thing as well.
Absolutely. Um, you know, do, celebrate, and repeat. Would be my advice.
I like that.
Do, celebrate what you've done, and then repeat. Go back and do it again. Um, you know, you are. So I do CrossFit, and man, I am by no means ready for the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
That thing kicks my rear end every time I show up. it is some of the most difficult stuff I've ever done.
Yeah.
Leaves me on the floor every time. But they'll tell you did better than 100% of the people that didn't come.
Wow, I like that.
Right?
I like that.
I don't care if you made through half the workout. I don't care if you threw up. I don't care if you're out of breath. I don't care if you're on the floor. You did better than 100% of the people that didn't come. Take that to heart. If you've written a pamphlet, if you've written an article, if you've written 100 pages that aren't all that coherent for your first one, guess what? You wrote 100 pages more than everybody who didn't write. You speak to 5 people, you've given one more speech than everybody who didn't try. And every experience you have is an experience you have in the bank that allows you to grow for the next one. You only learn by doing. You got to do it.
Man, you're right, man. I think that too many people psych themselves out, and I think too many people watch to see when is the right time. Do I have the right stuff? Man, I have friends just like you have, the Onyx family. They are very heavy YouTube influencers, and they didn't start out with cameras. They start out with an iPhone. And they just said, we're going to do the best we can with what we have.
We're going to do something.
We're going to go forward, and we're going to do what we can with what we have. Man, I wanted to ask you, man, how do people get in touch with you? Because, man, obviously you're full of knowledge. You got the preaching, you got the speaking, you got the consulting, you got the group. How do people get in touch with you? And then I want to ask you, man, about this Easy. You got this EASY.
Sure.
Talk about that, but how do people get in touch with you?
So I am on social media, and my Instagram, Say It Better Now. It's open. Feel free to follow me. My Facebook is my name, Gamal T. Alexander. Connect with me on Facebook. My email, sayitbetternow@gmail.com. Feel free to email me. My website, GamalAlexander.com. You can visit me there. So there are a lot of ways to get in touch with me. I've been intentionally trying to be more present, especially now that I've established the book writing boot camp. And that's important to me because I want to connect with as many people as possible. And so I've been inviting people to email me or direct message me about the boot camp because I want to talk to you. I can't necessarily explain through a post all that you're getting when you sign up for this writing community. I need to connect with you in person in order to really explain it to you so that you understand what a tremendous opportunity this is. So long story short, I want to talk to you.
Man, Gamal, man, you've kind of open the door for somebody. And I hope that wherever you are, that you're watching this, whether you're watching this live or the rebroadcast, take advantage of reaching out to somebody who is a professional speaker, an influencer, and he also does ghostwriting for people, helping people to speak better than they thought they could by themselves. So please take advantage of Gamal. And I want to ask you, man, what is this Easy? So you got this
Easy. This is Easy.
Talk about what is the Easy part?
Easy is an acronym. It stands for effectively, authentically sharing your story.
Wow. Okay.
Effectively, authentically sharing your story. Who uses Easy? Coaches, speakers, consultants who need to expand their platform and communicate on stage, they can use Easy. I am a speaking coach. I help people craft their signature talks and communicate from the stage. There are those who've started businesses, entrepreneurs, specifically consultants, coaches, teachers, those in the helping professions, you need a product that you need a written product that you can share. And you can use easy because I'm a writing coach as well. I do that on 2 levels, as Julian mentioned. I either coach you as you write, providing accountability and community to help you finish, or I work alongside with you, helping to co-author that work. And so we construct the outline together so that you can fill it in with your own words. It's a step below ghostwriting, which I also am able to do. But if you've started a business, you need a free download, you need a free product, and so you would use my services. If you are a coach, a consultant, a teacher, a helper of any kind, if you are a speaker, you need to be able to speak to sell. You need you need a product that is going to help to get your message out there long after you sat down. And so you would use easy. And so as a speaking and writing coach, I offer my services. And then the third arm is brand strategy. I do copywriting, content creation. I help not only people tell their stories, but I also help businesses tell their stories. And so what does your business do? Can you describe what your business does in one powerful creative sentence of 15 words or less? Do people understand? Can they connect with your business? What kind of story is your business telling? I help businesses tell their stories as well.
Man, Gamal, man, you have a wealth of information and knowledge. And I know that people not only coast to coast are using and utilizing your services, not only international are using your service, but I've used your service too.
Yeah,
You helped me.
absolutely.
Gamal, I've got to talk about this. And you walked me through just in about 5 or 7 minutes. You said, man, well, what about this? What about this side? Have you thought about this, man? And before I knew it, man, I had everything I needed to get me going. Gamal Alexander knows exactly what's going on from Speak Easy. And you also, man, have a way of expressing yourself, man. What do you feel with ebooks and with all these other things? What do you feel is the future of writing? I mean, is writing and books, are they kind of a thing of the past? You know, people used to go knock on doors and sell Encyclopedia Britannicas.
Sure.
You can sell all kind of books, man. What's the future of writing?
If you notice, the mediums have changed.
Yeah.
The methodology may have changed.
Yeah.
But the core remains the same. We still tell stories.
Yeah.
Now we may have graduated, we may have evolved from parchment scrolls to now ebooks, but we still write stuff down.
Yeah.
We may have evolved from the town square to now a YouTube channel or a Facebook Live, but we still speak. We things may have evolved from the Shakespearean theater to now the big screen in Hollywood, but we still produce stories.
Yeah.
The core remains the same. Human beings will never get away from speaking and writing.
Man, you're so right. And I think
human beings will never get away from it.
And I think you're so right, man. As we continue to grow toward this evolution, my wife was reading, and I were reading an article today about the coronavirus. And this lady was writing about the American civilization and how the effect of the coronavirus was on the civilization from during World War II to now. And man, we have new topics to write about. There's always something new to share. And man, I was wondering, man, how do you stay focused and stay in your lane? Because there are a lot of people who say, man, I want to write about this. I want to write about that. I want to write about this. I'm this, I'm that. How do you find a voice and a lane in publishing and in writing per se?
So there's a difference between an interest and a passion.
Yeah.
Okay. You may have an interest. I have an interest in so I have an interest in the culinary arts.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law is a chef. I've always been interested in trying to learn how to cook. I watch Chopped.
Yeah.
But I can't sit down and give you the history of the culinary arts. I can't sit down and talk about cooking for 30 minutes. That's not the first thing that comes out of my mouth. I would discourage you from writing. I would discourage anybody from writing about what you're interested in before you write about what you're passionate about.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
You've got to write about the stuff that you can't shut up about.
Yeah.
Because an interest will fill an article. A passion will fill a book.
Yeah.
And what usually happens is people write about their interest.
Yeah.
They don't have enough to say about it.
That's true.
And they really can't convey the emotion necessary to make somebody else care about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
Because you don't really care enough about it to make it more than an interest.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? But the passion is the thing you really care about, which is why you've made yourself an expert on it. I can talk and have spoken for almost an hour about speaking and writing. Yeah. I guarantee you there's a whole lot of stuff I can't speak for 10 minutes on.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's maybe stuff I'm interested in, but this is my passion.
Yeah.
And so you wake me up at 3:00 in the morning and ask me about writing. I have something to say. Yeah. Wake me up at 2:45 in the morning, ask me about public speaking. I have something to say. Wake me up at 3:00 in the morning and ask me about video production. I'm going to send you to Google. Yeah, I don't know. I may have an interest, but I don't have a passion. Write about the stuff you're passionate about, the stuff you can't shut up about, the stuff that you get on other people's nerves talking about. Write about that stuff. That's the stuff that's going to produce a book.
Wow, Gamal, man, that is so good, man, because I think many people confuse the interest and their passion.
You get it confused.
They want to say it's their purpose, and then they get mad at people why they don't buy their book or they're not into what they're saying.
You're not into it.
That's right.
I'm not into it. You're not into it. You came across this and you decided it would be interesting. You decided that you could say it in a way that somebody would buy it, and you put it in a book. You're not into it. So how in the world you think I can be into it? If you don't feel it, I'm not gonna follow.
Yeah.
All right. That's just the bottom line. If you don't feel it, I'm not going to follow. But if you feel it, you can make me feel it and you can make me fall for it.
Man, I mean, Kevin Cameron says people care about the stories you tell. Kevin, if you're still on, I'd like for you to just send another backup to why people care about the stories you tell. As a matter of fact, we'll have you on very soon to talk about storytelling itself.
Oh, but man, I love that statement because stories are very human. Stories are relatable, and stories convey experiences, right? So in a very real sense, we're saying the same thing. The interest can be based off of information. Passion speaks to experience.
Yes.
Have I experienced this thing have I tried it? Mm-hmm. Right? You get real churchy. You say, I tried him and I found out he's all right with me. That's not interest. That's experience. That's and it is that passion. We're Christians. When the disciples had been with Jesus, they were able to convey that they were able to convey that to others. But simply reading about Christ, no. That's not going to cut it. I need to know that this is something you're passionate about. Can you tell the story?
Man, that's awesome. Gamal, man, we're wrapping up. And I was wondering, man, as we wrap up, we just want to remind everybody of what's coming up very soon. Very soon, we're going to have an opportunity for people just like yourself and myself, people who are grieving, to have an opportunity to come together. We're going to have something called There Is Hope. It's going to be a 3-night event. We're going to talk about grief. And then the last night, we're going to have a memorial service memorializing all those we have lost. It seems like the list gets longer and longer. So please look out for that. If you'd like to be a sponsor for that, please hit me up at
And I
my.
hope some of those people will memorialize and commemorate and honor the memories of those they've lost by doing some writing, and I hope that they will tell the stories of what they are overcoming and how they're getting through that grief, so that somebody else could benefit from it.
And I'm telling you, I think that one of the other things is once I wrote my first book, I realized that I could make money.
So we didn't talk much about it, but
I could put a little extra gas in my car as a result of something that I wrote, something that I believed in, something that I'm passionate about. And I want to share with you what I'm passionate about. Every Saturday morning, I'm passionate about word power is spiritual development for the rest of us imperfect people, but it's empowerment for all of us. I'm so excited to be able to share with you. You got to check out last week about Chadwick Boseman. That was an epic episode. Please also remember every single Wednesday night we have Word Power, and we're so glad to have our special guest Gamal Alexander tonight. And then on Built to Thrive YouTube page, you have Finding Your Purpose. Well, Gamal, man, I want to thank you so much, man, for your investment.
Thank you for having me
to be here, man. Any final thoughts that you have for anybody who's grieving, wants to put out the story, doesn't know where to start, but man, any final thoughts that you have?
You are grieving because that relationship impacted you.
Yeah.
It had an effect on you. I wonder if the lessons you learned could help somebody else. I wonder if the impact that the person you lost, if their impact on you could also have if their story could impact somebody else. I believe it can, but it's up to you to tell it. Too often, we've allowed genius to go to the grave. Too often, we've allowed phenomenal stories to lay dormant or even dissipate into the atmosphere, never to be told. I believe that the greatness within your family needs to be shared. The wisdom your grandmother shared needs to be conveyed. The gifts, the sacrifices that your parents made needs to be highlighted. The lessons that you learned, those hard-fought lessons, they need to be shared. Your perspective on life, on the Bible, on philosophy, on whatever is unique. God put it only one of you here, and I believe that sharing your unique perspective can make a difference in somebody's life. Listen, you matter. Your story matters. The lessons you've learned matters. The experiences you've had, they matter. It's simply up to you to own the fact that it matters, to own the fact that you have experienced what you've experienced for a reason, and while you're owning it, take the next step and share it. I'd love to help you do just that. Children, our elders, and everybody in between. I've had the opportunity, the privilege to be able to help them share their stories either through speaking or through writing. From all walks of life, have gone through all sorts of experiences, and I would love to have the privilege to do the same thing with you.
Well, thank you so much, Gamal, man. I couldn't have said it better myself. This is amazing. You gave a class just like my brother Al said tonight. It was a master class in how to go from imperfection to from innovation to imperfection to ideation to implementation and all the things in between. And I want you to know, man, I really appreciate you coming on. Please remember.
Thank you for having me.
Oh man, it's an honor, and please feel free to come back again. We have to have you on a writer's panel just to be able to share stories, to be able to talk.
I love that.
Generating the idea. And please, please, please remember, please know that you're not alone. There's a community out here to support you. Our goals are to find community, gain some connections, and to experience compassion. Uh, Thank you again, Gamal, for coming and being with us. And I pray God's blessings on you and everything you do. Please invest in yourself and invest in Gamal. He has 2 books and more books coming out. He was writing a book today when we talked. So
Yeah.
please, please, please check him out, hit him up, and make sure that you make his pockets filled with your COVID stories. I'm Julian Johnson. This is Gamal Alexander. We'll see you another time.